pretty much 2 weeks out from the fight now, so it's getting close to that time where we want to be peaking. So the body's sore, I'm not going to lie, it's been a tough training camp. Obviously like calories are low and stuff like that, so recovery's becoming more of a focus.
I think I've been training with Nathan since 2017, and I remember him as like a little skinny kid from Southport, so we always take the piss out of him for being Southport massive. But I remember the first time we trained, I had done Olympic wrestling, obviously he had, and I remember we wrestled together and he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, you can wrestle?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he was little enough for me to have a good go with him, and then we've used him in camps to imitate people who I'm fighting, and always got on with him. Really, really respectful lad, and just a hard worker straight from the off, which is what you want to see. It's good to see his striking's evolved. I commentated one of his fights, his only loss, absolutely destroying the kid, and in the last round just made one mistake and got fluffed up, you know. And I remember we had a conversation after that, and I said that will be the moment you'll always remember for the rest of it. I literally got finished 6 days before in the Echo Arena, and then 6 days later I had to commentate, and then the same thing happened to him, and that was his you win or you lose, as cliche as what it is, but he's learned from that. And it's good to see a boy become a man. It's like giving me goosebumps a little bit there, because I'm seeing he's on that trajectory to get a world title shot now. One more win and it's there, and then who knows how long until the UFC come knocking, but I don't see any other place for him but the UFC.
So yeah, we'll get the 2 hours of training done this morning in here. We've got an hour of like kickboxing and MMA striking drills. So a lot of the stuff we do is geared towards like common themes in the UFC. So Ellis does a boss job of watching the fights every weekend and seeing what sort of like finishing sequences come up, what sort of strikes are landing, and we're basing our sessions around like drilling those techniques, so the most high percentage stuff, you know what I mean? So that's the first hour today, is going to be that sort of stuff, and then we'll go into a wrestling session after that, which is focused more on like fight specific stuff for each athlete. So for me personally, that's about like looking to get takedowns, working against defense, stuff like that, taking the back. Obviously what you see in a lot of my fights, that's the stuff we're going to be drilling today in the wrestling session there. So it's good, but I'm feeling great at the minute, despite like the weight cut and despite the hard training camp and stuff. I feel really fit and a lot of good energy and stuff like that. So we're in a good place mentally, physically, and I feel ready to go now. I can't wait for these next 2 weeks to get done and then get in there and smash Brian's head in.
Yeah.
For opponents, well-rounded. He fought one of our lads last fight, Liam Gittins, so we prepared for him for that fight, so we know his style well, so we prepared for that. So he's a pretty good striker, he switches stance, he likes to wrestle against the wall, got good ground, pretty well-rounded. So we've been studying him for a previous fight and now this fight, so we feel we're pretty much on his style, and we've got a couple of stuff work to counter that. Today we're going to do some striking session. We're going to be focusing on drills, some reaction, bits of movement, using our defence and then having counter combinations back. Been doing these drills for a few weeks now. Everyone seems to be getting a lot better off them. Reactions, stuff getting better, so we're just going to go through that, and then the hour 11 o'clock till 12 we're going to be working some grappling, a bit of wall work, bit of grappling on the ground, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. Halfway!
One session as well. You want to get a shot of these, like the famous yellow gloves, famous Cage Warriors gloves. That's...
It's a MMA grappling session, okay, focused more on takedowns, takedown defense, counters, that sort of stuff. So we work specific stuff over blocks of time. So since like Nathan's last fight, for example, we've been working on some specific stuff because his last opponent kept getting away from his hooks. So we'd worked on some specific stuff for him to be able to take the back in a different sort of way. And also, Nathan had used a similar finish in one of his fights. So we were going through that. You don't just go over the stuff that you do bad in fights, you go over the stuff that you do good in fights as well. Nathan's been looking fantastic. He's always improving. He's an athlete, not a fighter. He takes accountability for his actions. The stuff that he needs to improve on, he'll always be striving towards them goals. He looks in tremendous shape. His rounds look really sharp. His striking's really good. His wrestling, his grappling is always phenomenal. So pretty hopeful going into this fight.
I always forget to go like the next time That wasn't on there. What's that? Nice one, brother. Thank you. Next today. Feel ready now. So we're just heading into peak performance now, where I do all my strength and conditioning training for me fights. For me, this is probably the most important part of my fight camp, I think. Coming here not only gets me fit for the fights and gets me in the best condition possible, but I feel the mental advantage that I get from coming and doing the sessions in here just puts me levels above any of my opponents. Do you know what I mean? Like the work that goes on in this place, I've been coming now for probably the last 2.5 years, and I've never been fitter than every single fight camp when I come in here and put the work in. It takes me to a new level each time. Like I said, not only the physical attributes that you get from coming and doing sessions like this, but the mental push that you've got to get from, you know, training twice already this morning, 2 hours, no food, no rest in between, and then coming and having to dig in here. I just don't think there's anybody else doing it the way I'm doing it and putting in this type of work. And that's why I think I'm just going to be levels above all of my opponents. I lost a fight as an amateur, and it was basically down to me conditioning. So Alex has said, I was coming in here a little bit on the weekend and stuff, doing the Saturday classes, and Alex has said to me, like, if you want to fucking take it seriously, you've got to get in and train with Tom privately. So after that loss, I come in, I was still an amateur at the time, started training with Tom, and then ever since then I've been on like a 7-fight winning streak, and me conditioning now is probably my main attribute, where in the past it was what caused me to lose my fight. Now down to the training in here, I'm putting my fitness on everyone that I'm fighting. So, yeah.
I've kept all of his data from day one when he came in, and every camp he comes in, he's progressing like massively. All his numbers, all his strength numbers, all his conditioning numbers, so doing really well. I'm used to being in a fatigue state and doing multiple movements what will complement his style of fighting. So one was body pulling his own weight, yeah, being explosive through his hips, being in a bridge, yeah, press position, and also being explosive with his hips and being conditioned on the skip and rope.
Right, dig in, it's all mental now. Last round. That's Alex.
We're all in.
So I'm doing all that there. That's a hard push, that 3 hours non-stop. With just breakfast in me, just a bit of porridge. But that's building the mindset that I need to go and get in the cage now. And if I can push through these workouts, it's going to be well harder in the fight, do you know what I mean? So if I can get through these, the fight's going to be easy. Oh, I know no one's working as hard as me there. You can see it yourself. There's no other fighters on cage who's putting the work in than I am. Oh. I'll give you that fair play, man. Well, you know, face of CrossFit. I mean, I know, and you know, you use 50k on the bench.